Hello, hello. Happy Tuesday, July 21st, 2026. Colin, you got tornadoes? Eeks. Russell, Colin, hello. Who else we got? Anybody else here? Gabriel, hello. I did not buy that desk set. Had I seen it, I probably would have. David, hello. All right. It's been a busy day. Tuesdays always are busy, and I had a client come in this morning, and so I spent my time with her. My daughter came in. It was mailer day. Someone else is stalking things on eBay then? Yeah, that's too bad. I don't even want to ask what the price was. It was probably pretty reasonable, I guess. Yeah, well, Gabriel just sent me a... for whatever reason, Gabriel, your emails always go into my junk box. But I check that multiple times a day anyway. It was $99. That's way too much. I would never have paid that, so I don't feel too bad. $99. 29. I give you 29 for it, plus the shipping. 99 if it comes in the box and we can prove it's a color we don't know exists. That's how I lean. It was a cool, yeah, right? So let's. Now, if that was a deluxe, we go, okay, well, whatever, whatever the price needs to be, needs to be. You would pay $100 for the deluxe? Yeah, I mean, I would. I know what my number is. It's pretty high. We'll get into a bidding war, the three of us. The first time we see one. It'll be the double with the pen rest on it, and it'll be outrageous. We haven't seen a physical example. It has not turned up. You would not bid against me, but you figured out how high I would go at a show. If you were at a show and I was not there and you saw one, I would make it worth your while. Particularly if it's a double. Well, I would make it doubly worth your while, probably. Yeah. But the problem is I can't imagine they're not marked. But I do have in particular. Yeah, we would both leave that deal happy for sure. I would trade you a couple of Lakesides and we'd be square. I do have like the Diplos are always marked. Every Diplos I've ever seen, and there isn't a Diplos model that hasn't been discovered. Now I have not seen I've not seen the 400 series, the Durez series with the chain. I've not seen one like that, but we know that those models, the chain was added after the fact. We know those models were marked on the bottom. The standard lever-filled desk pens, which the deluxe are part of, all have a felt bottom. And sometimes the only way to identify them is because, now the early ones were not stamped on the ring. They could be stamped on the felt, which of course wears off because it's rubbing against the desk. So, or it has a pen. So if they show up in an auction somewhere, you have to know what it looks like. But there's no way to identify it. It would probably be labeled as Deco or mid-century modern, which seems to be the latest buzzword, MCM. Which I love about as much as I love colorway and collab and all those terms. But Johnny Walker, yeah. So someday we'll find one. We'll find one someday. One will turn up. That kind of stuff. I mean, it's consistent digging turns up. I might need this. Oh my goodness. Okay, so Flowmaster ink. Oh my goodness. You know, that's one thing I don't have. I'm pretty certain I don't have a Flowmaster tin like that. And there was actually a cleaning fluid too, which, you know, of course, there's actually a set. I think there's a set of like maybe 3 different things that you can get. And let me block this bot here real quick. There's like a cleaning fluid, and then, you know, the black ink, and then there's something else. I forget what it was, but there may be 2 or 3 tins. But I mean, they're toxic. You just can't. I just don't. It's neat, but I just don't know what the heck I would do with it. You know, I mean, if it came my way someday, it would probably be like, okay, that's cool, and it's going to go in the box. It's sort of like all the rest of the felt tips and the felt writers and the low end stuff that is a miracle actually that it survived, because it's completely stuff that people would throw away. They were not meant to be refilled, not meant to be reused. View writer, felt writer, all those real thin, long sticks that were felt tip pens. Those were. It's a miracle they survived. It really is. And some of the cheap ballpoints that they made that they didn't make refills for. They're disposable. You throw them away. How we have any at all is really sometimes kind of a miracle. Lisa still laughs at me because I bought a bunch from her when she was selling off a bunch of the stuff from her collection years ago. And I think I paid 10 or 20 bucks a piece for these things, and I bought a bunch of them. And that was like 20 years ago. So, anyway. All right. These guys we finished last week. I may put a little shellac on this section. It does twist a little bit, so I don't really want that to be a problem. We're going to test this. I did get okay on this repair here to fix it. However, the price for the part plus the resac exceeds the price of actually buying a new one. So I made them an offer that they could, if they want to buy a new one, I can send it back, because you know, this part is kind of one piece, and you need this part. So plus the shipping. So we're gonna do this guy, and then we're gonna what are we gonna do? I've got a red Esterbrook. Why don't I just put that in this tray here? And then I want to get into these Conways that I got in the mail. What was it? Yesterday. You picked up a Kohinoor rapidograph, and what a pain in the ass. Yeah. Well, I hear you. I may or may not touch on the remaining 2 that I've got, and see if the stylo unit that I have fits one of them, because those 2 stylos are bent. They're bent, and they are just not going to work. All right, this one's going to have a fun nib. It's got a 9128. And this one I picked up a couple weekends ago at an antique store where the owner did not want to be bothered by checking to see if a desk set was for sale or not, so he just decided it wasn't for sale. So we got the Esterbrook instead. Oh, there it is. So I had another defeat against Facebook recently. It is impossible to reach anybody at Facebook. It is just, and that's the way they want it. I mean, I realize they have millions of users. I have been trying for a solid, I don't know what it is now, a month and a half, 2 months, to try to stop somebody from using my images, my website address, from scamming people out of money for World Cup tickets. Now, of course, the World Cup is done, so I don't know what, what's the next scam for this guy. But he started, I had some moderate success in getting copyright violations on stealing my images. And I had a number of his images taken down, including one of the images he used as a profile image, which, I was hoping would be, because I was getting multiple messages and emails a week and sometimes a day from people who were getting scammed by him. One person threatened that the police and the FBI I was reported to the police and the FBI. But every time I try to report the page, I get essentially what amounts to, after about 5, 6, 7 days, an AI response saying that it falls within the community guidelines. I had success with about maybe 5 or 6 images of mine get removed from his page. He's got pictures of my kids, pictures of me at my old Chicago store, pictures of me at the opera. I mean, it's ridiculous. And he's got my web address right there. And so people are going to the website and they're using the contact form to tell me what they think of me for taking money from them, which I, of course, didn't do because I'm not that guy. So some of them got taken down. But then, so what he did is then he immediately went, the day they took down like 5 or 6 images, he immediately went to my site, found another image of me, cropped it because it was actually a promotional shot of me and somebody from Retro 51 who had come to my Chicago store for an event. He cropped her out of it. I immediately went and submitted it. And they have a copyright violation form. You can report the page, but that doesn't do any good. Copyright violation form, you actually have a text box where you can actually include some text and tell, say why you think that this is not right. And they have now twice rejected my copyright claim because it doesn't look like the original image. You put down where the original image is, and the image you are claiming is in copyright violation because he cropped it, and they're using seemingly AI to handle these queries. And AI looks at it and goes, "Oh, that's different. It's significantly different," they say. And then I found out last week he had created a second account using his name with another image of me. And I've reported his page probably 6 times. Lisa's reported it. My daughter's reported it. My daughter's fiance has reported it. I have friends who have reported it. And I've asked every single person who has communicated with me saying they lost money to report it, and they won't take his page down. So if anybody has a contact at Facebook, let me know. Because the alternative is I can pay a PR firm $3,000, $4,000, $5,000 and they'll take care of it. Why is it now my problem? Why do I got to spend that kind of money? Well, this is a nice nib. Anyway, sorry for the rant. My twin brother I don't know about? Pfft. No way, man. I mean, the stories people are telling me when they tell me. I mean, he scammed one guy out of $3,000 worth of tickets. His wife went up to the ticket counter to get into the World Cup match, and they're like, "Yeah, no, this is fake." Yeah, that was a fun one. That was the guy who threatened me with the FBI. They're like, "Bring it, send him, please," because he zellied money, and you can't tell me that they can't figure that shit out. Sorry, it's supposed to be family friendly. I'm getting upset now. But who's zellies a complete stranger? $1,500 or $3,000 for World Cup tickets. I have one person, two. I'm sorry, I have 2 people I will zelly money to. That's it. It's possible that the people contacting you and complaining are part of the scam too. They might be trying to get you to refund them. I mean, I lost track. I mean, I'm getting people on Facebook. I'm getting people who are contacting me on Instagram. People who are contacting me via my website. If people knew what my phone number was here, if I even know what my phone number is, apparently it is out there because I had somebody call me yesterday on the phone and I'm like, I don't even know what my phone number is. How did you find it? Because I told the guy when he hooked up my internet, he says, do you want a phone too? I said, no, I don't want a phone. I'm not going to talk on the phone. He says, well, it's like $5 cheaper if you get a phone. I'm like, okay, put the phone in, but I don't need to know what the number is. I mean, who knows? I mean, I hope that's the case, and I hope real people aren't getting scammed, but I just can't believe for a minute that Facebook just thinks, oh, it falls under the community guidelines. Because he created a whole, not only create his page, but he created a whole group for buying, selling, trading World Cup tickets, and then put some tagline about, we're doing this because there's lots of scammers out there. How ironic, huh? That's a nice pen. That's really nice. This is like the first, and I'm not 100% certain. My first 2 Esterbrookes were a red SJ and a red LJ. I know for certain it had a 1551 nib. running out of ink here. Carrie, you glad you got here before the rant? I don't think people want to hear me rant, really. I guess it's a safe place to rant. You know, and I can go and I can, and my understanding also is if you file too many copyright violation forms, Facebook can suspend your account. Anybody who knows me would know World Cup tickets would be about the last thing that interests me. Yeah, I've watched exactly one World Cup match in my life. Well, you know, and then but you got to answer these people, right? And these people are honked off, and they don't know who to be honked off at, and they don't know if I'm lying to them or what they're doing. You know, one guy's like, "Oh, well, this really looks bad for your business." I'm like, "Well, no crap, my dude." But then again, I mean, I don't think that someone like you was actually shopping with me, so you know, it's more of just a pain in the butt that I got to deal with all these emails and these people contacting me than it is anything else. It's not like somebody went out and created an account and was selling Esterbrook's or John Hollins or something, you know. Then that would look bad. That would look bad. I mean, maybe that's the next scam for this dude. And if he's watching, if it continues, I may have to pay a PR for. Actually, you know, I know a PR guy now that I think about it. I have a client who is a PR guy. Maybe he knows something. You did send Zelly to someone claiming to be me for a nice vintage pen. I hope it will all be okay. This right here. This is one of the two people I ever will send Zelly to, or receive Zelly. Both of them happen to be in the same state, actually. So the 9128 extra fine flexible nib really does give you a nice hairline, but the maximum is kind of that. You guys crack me up. The maximum is about right there. It's kind of like a broad medium. I mean, but it's the nicest. You have to go really slow. You can do hash marks. I mean, look at that. But it's pretty crisp. It's a really crisp. nib. Well, that's good to go. That's a nice pen. Both of those are nice pens. Make sure there's nothing on the cap. That one's good. Get them in the ultrasonic. Ultrasonic the spinner. I'm glad that red one actually turned out so nice. I paid a little more for it than I typically do. But it was one of those situations where you go antiquing and sometimes, you know, you got to come home with something. All right. Well, that worked out okay. All right, let's take a look at the Conways. Wherever I put the Conways. Oh, there. All right. So the reason I want to open these up is I think it was this one. So I got a couple of 58s here. The first thing you notice when you see a Conway Stewart lever filler is you look for that lever, and you see how that lever is actually, the tab of the lever is bent up. So it's a real thin piece of metal. There is a metal, there's always on these, there's a little metal tab that the bar locks into. So it keeps it nice and tight, which is great. It doesn't flop out. However, if the sack is hard, then all you end up doing is bending the tab. And if the tab breaks, then you're done. So I kind of have to bend that down a little bit. But what that tells me is that we really ought to look at these. Because I'm not going to risk trying to see if this is the same case of like you get an Esterbrook or an Eclipse or something with the lever box. Check the sack before you try to. I mean, assume it doesn't work. Because you risk damage. If you break the lever, you're going to be in a world of hurt. Because I don't want to do it. And even the guy I would normally send repairs that I don't want to do to doesn't want to do it. Because he had to do it and he doesn't like to do it. And if you break the tab off, you literally cannot fill the pen. Yep. Hard as a rock. Watch this. I love me a good 58, that's for sure. I've never actually owned one, but they're so, so nice. These two are 58s. Not to be confused with the Waterman of the same number, right? Hmm. Oh yeah, somebody sealed this shut. You have been delaying replacing a lever on a Conway Stewart Model 58 in black. The Indiana Jones pen. It's right up there in the fun category along with replacing or repairing a stud filler, a Conway Stewart Relief stud filler. Can't quite make out what it is, but it's a clear adhesive. Almost looks like it's silicone. If you live through the tornado, you've got a green hatch 58, huh? Just like this one. Hey, Colin, you got a 10 stream streak. It is a cap off of a 60, though, kind of like the fat cap band. If you need to fuss with the nib, though, it's been worked on, so it has an odd hump in it near the end of the feed. Great. Yeah, it's some kind of silicone based adhesive, but then the bar came out. Let's hope the next two aren't this way. No, this is open. You received the cap, replacing cap for your Eco Cerulean that your daughter dropped? Well, she knocked the whole case of 12 pens off the wall. I sent you an email too, Colin. I don't know if you got it. I didn't. I sent it out right before. Oh, you just replied back, or at least I just got it. All right, so this one I found interesting. This leads to an interesting dilemma. This is a Conway 67. Cool cap. I like the cap. Nib just says Conway 14 karat gold. And it's an aerometric, but what is this we see? Original marked sack. Now here's the problem. The sack is hard as, hard as a rock. My thinking on this, because trying to remove this is most likely going to break it, is that I'm just going to sell this as is with the original sack in there. I mean, what a placement, right? I'm probably going to make it a real tough sell. But I don't know how we would get that off. I mean, there's a high probability of that completely breaking into 1,000 pieces trying to get it out. Oh, this one's crunchy too. This one doesn't have that mark on it. To fell press bar slowly 4 or 5 times. All right. And these are, what are these? Conway 107s. 2 of the same thing. Yeah. All right. So this needs help. This needs a new sack. These sacks were pliable, but usually I do is I give it the. Now watch what'll happen when I. You can already see the porousness. Now when I press this, and see how it just kind of turns white. And you can see the cracks in it. This is not a if, it's a when that goes bad. Let's see what this one looks like. And sometimes they look good, like this looks good. But you pull it and you see it instantly. Yeah, it starts to separate. Now, this doesn't mean that if it doesn't do this, I'm not going to replace it, but this one you can see already, you can see. So yeah, so it's a good thing we opened those up, even though they are pliable. They're all bad. But sometimes you get sacks that look really good. And you don't know until you start taking them apart. Clean these off and dump them in the ultrasonic. So it just goes to show you, it can be pliable, but it's still bad. And that, those sacks, it's just a question of time where that becomes a problem in your pocket or your bag or wherever. Which is, it's, and if you would have tried to lift the lever, it would have been okay. So I always, it's like I always get nervous when someone says, oh, well, I found a vintage whatever at an antique store and it filled. And I'll say, well, you really should replace the lever. Oh, but it filled just fine. Okay. It'll stain just fine too. I've actually wanted to show that for quite a while, so I'm glad we actually have these 3 examples all at once. Hey, thanks for the resub, Gabriel. A couple more of those and I can buy myself my own $99 407. Twitch keeps showing that pop up and you want to clear it. I'm good with that. I appreciate it. I really do. Subscriptions on Twitch are like buying me a beer. That's what they're like. And if you can't see me in DC, sure do appreciate the subs. I gave my mail carrier today. She's really fantastic. She's really, I mean, I've had a lot of mail carriers over the years, and she is really one of the best. Really, really one of the best. I gave her some beer from out of town because I knew she liked beer. So I said, well, you know, I'll go grab some for you. You know, whatever. So she comes in today. She was off yesterday. And I said, well, I don't want to get you in trouble, but, you know, can you take this or do you want to come back? Oh, no, it's no big deal. So I gave her a 4-pack of beer. And you'd have thought I gave this woman $1 million. It was really, she's like, you're kidding me. You're like, no. Do you want anything for it? I'm like, no, just don't ever leave. That was my sub to my mail carrier. It was worth it just to see the smile on someone's face when you do something nice, you know. Spicy, what's going on? All right, well, these are hard as a rock. Sure, your back is strong today. Are we going to see some salad spinner action? You missed a little bit of it. Probably not going to see any more today. My back, not too bad. It was, yeah. I had a terrible night's sleep. I woke up in the middle of the night and thought, boy, my back is killing me. We've been waiting for about 3 days for my cat to hack up a hairball. He has a very particular behavior when he is not happy with his stomach. And he goes after the plastic bag in the garbage can in the middle of it, usually at about 3 or 4 in the morning. At which I love my cat. But I have a very specific rule that one strike and you're out. You find it funny always that out of things you use a salad spinner to clean, pretty ingenious. You're waiting on your mail carrier. Thanks for helping getting the pen. Yeah, I still haven't heard anything from the missing mail people, so I'm still waiting on it. You've been getting back pain for a while. You're 100% sure it's your bed mattress out of all things. Yeah, you know, I looked at one of these fancy mattresses. Mattress covers, actually. That some of the guys in the Pro Peloton use. It's called 8 Sleep, and then you can set it different temperatures. And then there's also a blanket that does this heating cooling blanket, and then they have a thing that goes under the mattress that lifts it up if you if it detects snoring, it lifts up the mattress and all this stuff. Yeah, this fancy mattress, they're super expensive. Yeah, it's like, so just the heating and cooling cover with the unit, which is about the size of a small air filter, is $3,000. 3,000 smackaroonies. Um, and then the unit that lifts up the bed if it detects you snoring, which, I would be game for, is another $2,000. So there's 5. And if you want the heating and cooling aspect on top as well as on underneath, and you use your own mattress. So this is not, we're not buying a mattress here. It's $3,000 for a cover. I don't know what that is. Is it another 1,000 maybe? I don't remember. You don't think you need mattresses that heat or cool up? You can live without? Yeah, wait till you start getting in your 50s. 50s, 60s. I'm not there yet, but I've got 2 fans and air conditioner that goes on and off in the middle of the night. It is never ending. You run hot, so cooling. I know, right? I don't think it doesn't sound. It doesn't sound $3,000 amazing. You want a stand-up unit for the bedroom? What's that? A fan or a cooling unit or what? At 60, you need one with the lot. Yeah. I mean, I was like, oh, cool. I could get one that it detects your snoring and then it would, it would raise it up. But I'm like, you got to be kidding me. I'm going to pay. Oh, AC. Okay. Yeah. I said, I'm not spending $5,000 on that. I'm not doing it. 5,000 buys me a lot of product. All right. The house you live in, for example, you need to change stuff structurally before even attempting to install a modern heat pump for a house. The estimate were at minimum 50,000 euros. That's nuts. What that says to me is you sell the house and you buy a new one. That's what that says. I'm definitely looking forward to the cooler weather. Whenever that arrives. Out of curiosity, have I watched the World Cup? No, you missed the beginning. You missed my rant at the beginning of the stream. No, I don't watch the World Cup. That's the last thing I'd want to do. I've got a guy who's impersonating me, selling fake tickets, selling fake World Cup tickets, and I can't get him shut down. And World Cup is like so far outside of my normal sporting interest. I've watched one World Cup match ever. No, they're not. They actually don't call themselves me, but they're using pictures of me. And they're linking to my website. They basically copied my entire profile, including my pictures, including pictures of my kids. It's been pretty much a pain in the ass is what it's been. Doesn't the platform respond to DMCA? They have removed about 5 or 6 images that he's stolen, but he's also found a way around it because apparently if you crop an image, their AI can't detect that it's the same. So when I got rid of, I thought, okay, well, I'll get rid of, see if I can get rid of the profile image that he's using, because that'll look suspicious, right? And wow, this stuff is hard as a rock. Oh my god. He cropped another image of me, and Facebook tells me it's just too different. It's not the same. There we go. You gads. I stabbed myself with my... Must not be a random guy for him to use your picture. He has 2 profile accounts actually with my pictures on them. Facebook won't shut the pages down. Say it doesn't go against their community guidelines. Like, wow, that's some community, man. What does? If stealing somebody's pictures and website don't go against community guidelines, I want to know what does. Hi. I hate putting these in. There's a reason Facebook is lobbying hard for ID verification online. They don't want to be responsible for paying consequences. Interestingly enough, he went and he bought the I think you have to pay for it. The verification check mark. He bought that on his account. Legal routes? Yeah, see, that's the thing. Now it's going to cost me money. I should sue Facebook. But you can't get in touch with the person. There's no phone number. There are supposed email addresses, but you can't. There is an appeal email address, but it's like sending money into the abyss. Or sending an email into the abyss. You don't know that they got it. They don't respond. You don't get a rejection. You get nothing. Yeah, it's all AI. It's all AI. So I've had good luck in cases where the image he copies is exactly the same. If he adds 3D or he crops it just a little bit. I've reported him at least 6 times. My wife has, my daughter has, my daughter's fiance, friends. Everybody who messaged me, I tell them, report them. I've tried to report them. It's on them at this point. It's really just a royal pain in my butt to have to deal with all the emails and messages and stuff that I get. Australia is introducing a whole lot of legislation regarding social media to hold them to account. Oh, it sure be nice. Now, I don't know to what extent it's actually going to affect my business. I don't think there's really... I mean, I'm not blowing it off, but I mean, what am I supposed to do? One guy threatened the FBI. Great, send him. I'll meet him at the door. We'll have coffee. It's Friday afternoon. We'll have a beer. I mean, We have supposed victims who have supposedly zellied money. So, hey, we could track this down. Did I watch the time travel? No, I haven't watched it yet. I watch in the evenings after work. Today's kind of my long day, and I was thinking about watching a little bit today, because time trials aren't really my favorite thing to watch in the world. But I had a lot of stuff going on. Lisa left her phone at home, so I had to go home before lunch, and then You could look at forums later and tell if you learned anything interesting. But I mean, yeah, I mean, I don't think you're going to find anything that we haven't figured out yet. But if you do, great. You're always happy to help. Sure, you're probably not the only victims. Take this. Yeah, I have it on Facebook. I'm sure. I appreciate it. I mean, if you find anything great, shoot me an email if you want at hello at, and I can. I can tell you who it is. I don't even want to bring up his name. He has blocked me from his World Cup page. See, the problem is I could block him, and then he wouldn't have access to my images, and just replace them when the copyright goes, gets removed. But then I can't see what he's doing. So it's really a double-edged sword. All right. All right, so those are good. This is such a cool cap. Got a blue jewel. Is anybody really going to buy this like this, though? Oh, there we go. See if we can pull it right off. So I could get this off. No, I don't know the actual person. I know what their name is, what they're claiming to be called. I have no idea who this person is. I have no idea if I know them. I have no idea how they decided to pick me as their guinea pig. Yeah, maybe, maybe I just take this off. I can't see, and anybody in the chat who has an opinion on this, can you file a lawsuit against Facebook before not taking care of this situation? I'm sure I could. How much is that attorney going to cost me? Right? I mean, why should I have to do that? I mean, if we've got any attorneys in the audience that want to help out a brother, on a contingency basis and get me some money, yeah, then let's talk. But I'm not going to pay somebody. I know how that deal works with attorneys. The only people that win are the attorneys. I am sure I bought my attorney a car, a nice car. And so I'm not doing that again. What do you think? Do you think we should take this off? Let's get a vote. Should we take this off and put a new sack in it? Or is there actually going to be somebody who cares enough about a Conway Stewart 67 that will want the original sack and never use it? All in favor of removing the sack, say aye. If we put a new sack on, they could use the pen. The buyer's going to want to use it. And this is not like, yeah, I might save it and set it aside is what I would do. Because, you know, I've got a bag of marked sacks. Aye. All right. The ayes have it. Nobody over on YouTube. Russell and Gary, you're sleeping. All right. That's okay. You can keep it in your collection. Make a display case with marked sacks with this pen as the centerpiece. Well, hang on. Hang on. Where is that? I've got a great idea. I think there's Waterman in here too. Estabrook. I am pretty sure these are 90%. All Estabrook, but I think there's I think there's a Waterman or something in here somewhere. Oh, maybe it's this one. Oh no, this one is Parker. You see that? That's crazy. You see the Parker? But yeah, these are, this is the dumbest collection ever. These are all marked sacks. Most of them are Estabrook. So whenever I encounter an Estabrook, or other marked sack, I put it in this bag. I don't know why. It's going to be kind of a joke from beyond the grave. After I die, someone's going to have to deal with this bag. And maybe it'll be $50. Maybe that's what Oh, hang on. Go back. Awesome. All right. What's that? I don't know. Lisa comes in here from time to time. Acts like she owns the place. All right. Anyway, enough of that jazz. This bag needs a disclaimer not to be used. Gabriel, you could use some Esterbrook Mark Sachs, couldn't you? These are almost all Esterbrook. This is like 99.9% Esterbrook. You know what I used to do is I used to restore, because a lot of those are fairly. This is so hard. I think it's going to break off right here. I might just do that. Yeah. There's no way I'm going to get that part off. Keep that. You bet that Lisa would be in favor of a display case full of used sacks. Well, let me tell you this. She doesn't know I'm getting a case. That's part of the fun for DC. And by fun, I mean, I hope you have a pull-out cot in your room so I can sleep there when she finds out. You have to be the one to give it to her? She knows how upset I was. You're not the bad guy. You're not the bad. She knows how upset I was when I had to sell my Parker case. There were a lot of bad days, and that was one of them. That was a really bad day. If you've never actually cried over having to sell a pen or a pen related item, then you have no idea what it was. But that was one of those days. It was like the history with that case, how I got it. This will be a nice. You keep it wrapped. It is really nice. You keep it wrapped in a moving blanket so you don't fall in love with it. I'm willing to take all responsibility for this, of course, because I was happy to get rid of the Wall Eversharp case. That was I'm just fine with that. That was kind of a weird thing anyway. I bought it and I was like, oh, it turned out to be smaller and basically useless in my store. Of course, when I bought that case, when I bought the Wall Eversharp case, which I think was dated around 1919, something like that. It was locked and there was no key for it. So thankfully, a friend of mine used to own a hardware store, and so he sent me one day in the mail a ring full of keys. And he said, here, try these. He says, if one works, keep it. Send me the rest back. And we did find one that actually opened the case. But I bought this case at auction, not realizing that it wasn't going to open and I wasn't going to be able to use it in my store. So that was kind of funny. All right. Let's see what sack we need here. Old Sack Anderson. Yeah. Well, that is perfect. 16 on those guys. This is bigger. This could probably use a 17. Now, who 70 plus years ago would have thought there'd be discussion about these display cases? Yeah. Do you need two Parker cases? Have you been withholding something from me? Do I not know about this second Parker? You have one in your closet. Did I see this when I went to visit? Too small. These are going to be way too small. Big sacks on those guys. No. Okay. Because they said I had no room. Oh, shit. Well, I do own a storage unit. I don't own a storage unit, but I got a storage unit. Does that count? All right, so we need a couple 17s. Three, that'll be nice. So I need 3 17s. 2 more. Put on that. Let me ponder it. I may send you photos. Okay. My thinking is the one case is going to go off to my right. I have a table over here that I've been meaning to. 18s will work there. That I've been meaning to clean off and reorganize. Sent me an email. Did it show up? I didn't check tracking today. Oh, it got there. All right. Well, so what happened? Well, one thing. Good. I'm happy. I'm glad you got it. We submitted the missing mail request. Now, we had to learn some things here because my previous manager took care of all this stuff for me. So, like, I was about ready to call him and say, "Hey, listen, what do I do?" Because I don't know. It would have been easier for him to tell me what to do than it would be for me to try to figure it out. We figured out you can submit a missing mail request because I knew there was something like that. And so Lisa submitted it the other day, but she didn't know that I actually have a Cardinal Pens USPS account. And if you don't log into the account that you submit the missing mail request for, you cannot track it. You also cannot submit a second missing mail request for the same tracking information if it's already been filed. So I was in a situation where I have no idea if Lisa even has an account with USPS or did it as a guest. There was we got an email notification from USPS that said, "We got your request," but there was no way to check on the request. And since it wasn't done under a logged in account, I couldn't check it. So I was, and sometimes Lisa, she doesn't know. I was like, okay, well, what are we going to do? So I'm glad it showed up. So now I know how to do it. So, I mean, at least there was also a learning experience involved here. So that's good too. But I hope you enjoy the pen. The person you got the cases from will be in DC. She decided to come to the show this time. Always good to see her. She's going to DC? Doesn't she always go to DC? We're talking about the same person, right? Yeah, okay. Yeah, it is always good to see her. Conway stores take a 16 set. Well, it depends, right? Yeah, the 58, the 18 fits nicely. This is a 28. It fits a 17, a lot nicer than a 16. And these Conways fit 16s. So it really depends on, and this is a 17 too, and this one is too. So it really depends. Oh, she hasn't gone in a few years. Well, it'd be good to see her. I get to see her in Chicago, so that's always nice. All right, let's see if these are good to go. She's really a wonderful, wonderful woman. Really a wonderful person. I unfortunately had to miss our monthly meeting with her. Zoom call that we have. We have it every month. And lately, for whatever reason, it's been on the same day as Pen Club. I have another one in there somewhere. Oh. Just going to use a bulb syringe to. That one had a little ink in it. This one did too. Oh! Jesus. All right, I'm glad that was not on the air, or at least visible. Jeez. Well, always make sure when you're using a bulb syringe that when you put this on, you either hang on to it or you make sure it's really tight on there, because it will come off and it will be a projectile, and you will have dirty, inky water all over your desk and computer, and my phone, which is standing nearby. My bench is wood, so of course it's Jesus. Got all over my buff sticks, which of course had ink on them, so now I've got ink on my bench. The camera lens appears unscathed. Yeah. It's a big mess over here. It's what it is. I had to move all my tools. All right, now somewhere in here, There's a section for Conway Stewart. If nothing else, have a good bit of humor about what goes on in your life, and then you'll be okay. All right. We're not going to do that again. We're not going to do it the same way again. That's what I meant to say. Now this is going to be nice and tight. And I'm going to hang on to it. All right. There. Second one, I always use tape on if I have two nib units that are the same that I'm trying to clean. I use tape on the second one. That's how I identify them. That's why I like doing Esterbrook's in mass, because you usually can have 10 Esterbrook's and not a single one of them has the same nib. All right. Just double check now that these are What's everybody else working on these days? What's on your bench? About $20, Russ? In the safe? Was it an old bill? All right. You just resacked a Summit S160. Are those kind of tapered, chased plastic clip that goes over the top? Oh, no. Do we have a clip? Oh, we got a clip. What is this? You clipped it? Uh, oh my goodness. It was clip worthy. Oh, that's funny. That's funny. You found the patent to see how it's put together. Yeah, so I used to have one that was green. It was really super cool. I loved the clip. And the Summits, those nibs are actually, from what I recall, a lot of the Summit nibs are actually fairly soft. And just a super cool pen. Really super cool pen. Cool engraving. Everything about them is just very neat. Like, if I got into English pens any more than like Relief, Summit would be one of them. Deep. Oh, you got deep maroon. Oh, wow. That's cool. All right, so that goes on there. All right. Mentmore new pressure bar. 4 Conway Stewarts to resack and polish. All right, so it's Conway week. Do you find a lot of Conways in Australia, Gary? Or are you just getting them from the Bay, or because that's what's available, or what do you find when you're out and about? $175 in blue lizard skin, huh? And if you're new and you're following along and you're wondering who I'm talking to, so I've got Twitch on one side, which is on the screen, and I've got YouTube comments that don't show up on the screen. So I'm talking to 2 sets of people at once, and some of you are on both. So did those come out to be the same size? Sure did. Good. It's always good when they come out to be exactly the same when they're supposed to be the same. Mentmore. Was Mentmore the one that they have a weird tab on the end of their lever? That's like a square at an angle or something, or it's not a square at an angle, but it's Mentmore. Who am I thinking of? Is it Mentmore? It might be Mentmore. An old bill. Sometimes you can get good money for those old bills. But they got to be perfect though. That's the thing. It's kind of funny. You guys talk about the Tour de France. I decided to check out a feed on YouTube. Interesting. What did you watch specifically? Just curious. You're slowly chipping away at your Emerald Deb lockdown vac still. The diaphragm is especially stuck on and it's tight in there. You get the filler out. And the diaphragm won't come out of the pellet cup or what? Yeah, I might turn on the tour after I'm done streaming here. I've got some I got some packages to ship and things like that. And like I say, the time trial is not necessarily my favorite thing to watch. Fillers out, okay. Col du Cordon, big corner. Huh. I mean, there are a lot of cool videos on YouTube for sure. What there needs to be more of being able to watch the stuff from the mid to late 60s when Merckx was dominating. Stage 4. Oh, stage 4. Oh, okay. It's hard to believe we're on, what are we on, 15, 16 now? That seems like it was about 3 weeks ago. Yeah, time trial is a bit boring unless you're watching leaders. You watch about 30 minutes, you'll check out the highlights. Yeah, the problem is that you have no sense of how fast anybody really is going. I mean, it's nice to watch. It's, it is the time against the clock, but and the announcers are always like, "Oh man, he's flying. He's really going fast." Like, how do you know? I mean, So yeah, it might be a good idea to throw it on in the background. And the team time trial, that's a little bit different. That's a little bit more interesting. All right, I need to get a beverage here. I will be right back. I gotta grab a soda. All right. Project Hail Mary is nice if you want sci-fi exploration. I don't really watch, unless it's something that really gets interesting. I just don't watch much TV these days. I mostly watch cycling and that's it. I mean, I subscribe to like several different services just to catch all the races. Which ironically, I won't pay, what is it, $70 a month for Flow Bike subscription because I think it's astronomical, but I've got Peacock, HBO Max, I've got, whatever other services that have cycling on it. It probably does come to $70 a month, but then I don't get, I get movies and stuff with the other ones. So if I do want to watch a movie. Like I was watching the French national championships last night. It's always interesting to hear other commentators. I actually had to shut it off after about 25, 30 kilometers because I just could not stand one of the commentators. Thought some of the U.S. commentators were bad, but this person was just not great. But if you haven't watched any Tour de France, this week is the week to watch. What is it? Friday and Saturday are the 2 days you should watch. It's very unusual that the Tour does 2 ascensions up Alpe d'Huez in the same year. In fact, I'm not even certain it's ever been done before. But it's a monster. I mean, it's not the hardest climb in the Tour, but it's hard and it's epic. And maybe you give the Tour a try if you can figure out how to watch it. Yeah, you're either going to have to use VPN and watch it via some service, which if you on the North American continent, if you do Canada, it's going to be Flow Bikes will have it. Eurosport in England is probably the way to go. I hear Flow Bikes is pretty good, but I'm a little jaded that I don't want to spend that kind of money. This guy's got a little bit of a twist to it. Or you can watch with a Peacock subscription. And for someone like you, I would say, or for anybody who hasn't watched and don't know what to expect, the first couple of hours of every stage are usually the most boring of anything on the planet. Get a VPN and watch SBS. So that's down in Australia. Is it free to watch SBS? Because I know David can do it as a VPN. So, but you kind of have to look at the course profile, and usually they show you the course profile throughout the stage. So you look at the profile, and when the profile goes up, you want to start watching just before they start any climb, because that's when the magic happens. Free would be preferable, yeah. Gary's saying SBS. Yeah, it's public broadcast, he says. So, yeah, try if you can get SBS. See if you can check that out. What I have been doing lately, because I don't want to end up in a situation where I was a couple of years ago, where I would watch every minute of every race. I would be like, it usually would happen like in the Jura or the Vuelta. I'd be like 4 or 5 days behind because, each stage is 4 or 5 hours long, and I'd only watch it while I was riding the bike. And I might only be on the bike for an hour, hour and a half, most days of the week, except for weekends. And so it would take me a week to get through one stage. But there's also an app, a free app that you can download called Tour Tracker, which will give you the course profile and in what kilometer, the climb start and all that stuff. And yeah, thank you, Gary. Appreciate it. And so it'll tell you that, Alpe d'Huez starts at kilometer 129 or something like that. And so, and they'll almost always have in the upper left corner, they'll always have the kilometers to the finish. So you can kind of get an idea of where they are. And what I usually do is, because the first part of every stage is usually pretty boring. It's usually flat. The action happens at the end. I fast forward an hour and a half, 2 hours, and then I watch the rest. All right. That one's kind of funny. It'll be fine. All right. So we got 4 nice Conways. Well, they're all Conways, right? We solved that silly dilemma quite easily. But these 58s are nice. The nice thing about these, and actually the nice thing about this is interesting that we have a 28 here. Because this is an exact model. I've never actually had a 28 that I can think of, even as a repair. Conway made pens for Esterbrook, as I've mentioned before and previously, even today, called Relief. And then they, instead of the CS in the diamond, they put R, and they put R on the tab of the lever, and then the barrels were marked, Relief. But they took this exact material, so you could get a blue marble, and instead of calling it a 28, they called it a 12. I don't know why, but that's what it is. So you can get a Relief 12 and a Conway 28, and they look identical, save for the R in the 2 spots in the barrel imprint. And of course, the nib is marked Esterbrook. So I wish they'd have made one this size. This 58. I've never had one of these. David, you've got one of these, don't you? You've got one with like a stupid broad nib or something on it. That's a nice size. It's not completely huge. I love this blue marble. It's kind of a dark gray. Yeah. It's kind of a dark gray. They made green hatch. They'd use this material on Reliefs. They use this material. This material is a little different. I don't think they use this on Relief. But you can also get this hatch pattern in like kind of a pinkish rose. You've got a black 28. About 30 different models. Yeah, so they made 12s. They made 12s in black, blue marble. Boy, if only I had a website that held all this information on. The green hatch, the gray hatch, the kind of the light burgundy. It almost looks like a rose hatch, and a couple other different options. So, yeah, these will be fun. I don't believe I've ever actually used a 58, so that will be fun. All right, what else do we have here? Oh, you know what I gotta do? I gotta seal this section up. And I should probably check my email, see if the gentleman wants me to actually fix that pen. The price to fix the M2, unfortunately, because it needs that this whole part, is actually cheaper for him to buy a whole new pen than it is for me to sell him the part and fix the pen. And I do have restored M2s in stock, so. But as some of you know, plastic pens aren't really my jam as much. I did recently acquire Conway Stewart overlay. If you know how hard those are to find, you know how hard those are to find. All right, so he does want me to fix it, regardless. Okay. All right. Let's take a look at that real quick. So these take a 14, not a 16. You got a 55 in blue gray marble. Really nice model, great size. Is the Jonathan Donahue book of numbers still up on the website, or we have to resort to archive.org for that now? I haven't gone to look in a long time. That's kind of one of those things where it makes you think, as a person who is, like there are a few really, really good websites of information for, like Parker, and it was 6 months ago when you last checked. And I know a lot of people use my Estherbrook website. But the problem is when these people die, it doesn't really get passed on, and it just expires. And we'll look for it in just a second here. And most people, I'm sure, only renew for 1 year at a time, because there is no advantage to renewing for multiple years at a time. There's no discount. All right, so we will let that sit. Let's go. Let's see if his website's up. See if I can pull it up here. All right, here. I'm gonna do another one of these terrible attempts at sharing my screen here. There we go. So it is, and I'll drop this in the chat. Apparently this is, so this has been transferred over to the Writing Equipment Society online, which is great. So the book of numbers is the one in the middle. There's Jonathan's signature down here. Click on that and it has a... So here's all your numbers. So what did we have over? We had some goofy stuff. What were these red ones? 107s. Let's look those up. And then you go here, you go 107, pull off engine turn gold color cap with 5 sets of parallel groups like a Parker 51 custom. Metal stud earlier. There's a length. And then there's a picture. It looks a little different than what we've got. But a lot of these have images. You click on them. They also have Conway Stewart associated. And so you can go here and you can click on relief. And here's a whole bunch of stuff under relief. And actually, he's got a couple of them in here, and I forget which ones they are. And you can't see these pop-ups, but there are 1 or 2 of these that are actually listed are pictures of my pens, which is kind of interesting. But yeah, so this is great. I'm actually going to bookmark this because I never remember where the heck it is. So that's good. That's good that the Writing Equipment Society has it now. And actually, to be quite honest, that's probably what's going to happen to my website at some point is I will donate it to the Pen Collectors of America. And if they already have hosting, great. Or I will donate it along with hosting for X number of years. It doesn't cost much to host it. That's the plan anyway. I don't want to see my work go to waste and get reduced down to archive.org, because you never know when that's going to be, if that ever goes away. But anyway, we've got a really kind of a good stopping point here because I don't really want to work on those last two stylographs. I'll pull some things out for tomorrow. I've got a few. Let's see, I gotta look back here, see what I got. Those are pencils. I think I have a couple other pens. Yeah, have a great night, David. Thank you. Send me pictures of that Parker case. A stylograph this late would be far too exciting. Yeah, I just can't do it. I can't do it. They are taxing. They are mentally taxing. So, you want to get the book Fountain Pens for the Million, The History of Conway Stewart? Yeah, it's outstanding. It's a really great book. Those series of books are great. I don't have the Swan one. There's a Swan book that I don't have. That I need to have. I need to have that one. But it's always something to chase. So, anyway, thanks everyone for tuning in. I appreciate it. Thanks for the subscriptions. Remember, shameless self-promotion. If you have Amazon Prime, you get a free subscription to your favorite Twitch. Lyndon, thank you. See you later. Your favorite Twitch streamer. Doesn't cost you anything. You can do that every month. Mix it up. Give it to me. Give it to someone else. But you get it for, it doesn't cost you anything. So you can do that. Anyway, have a good rest of your afternoon, evening, morning, wherever you are in the world. And be kind, be well, and we'll catch you tomorrow, right? Take care, everyone. Bye now.